God, I just saw the books you texted me. Those are all the best books, Joey.
Yeah, I got them all sitting here.
Oh my God,
those are armed.
I know I should have all my books. Oh well, it's fine. I'm reading this book right now. You guys would like it. Speaking of occult stuff, it's like all the occult stuff throughout every year ever.
Oh wow! I'm gonna have to look that up.
No, it's literally it has stuff that I've never heard of, which is hard to come by.
That looks serious, dude.
I'll send you a photo of it.
Please, yeah.
It talks about this. Have you heard of the guy Jacob Boehm?
Jacob Boehm.
Yeah.
Okay. Talks about him. It has a few on like Aleister Crowley, Dion Fortune, Eliphas Levi, whatever his name is. But then it talks about like other stuff.
I think he's a Gnostic saint actually. But all right, since we're all live now, we start off the show live for 1 whole minute actually. All right, so welcome to the Occult Rejects. This episode we got a returning guest who brought another guest with him, and we got some rejects here. So first we'll start off. Joey P, what is up, man?
I'm an Occult Reject today. Dana's
the guest.
Right. I'm an Occult Reject today. That's
all right. All right. Oh shit, you're gonna have to take off some clothes then, sir. No. We're gonna have to make sure Headless is here. No.
Yeah, all right.
No, I'm joking. Joey, please let everybody know what's going on.
I am the host of Library of the Untold on YouTube, and I got a video coming out Friday that delves into the possibility that the soul is electricity.
Ooh.
Oh, see, I'm totally down with that because I've been saying that for a long time, my man. Fucking awesome. I'm glad somebody else is saying that with a much bigger audience. That's awesome. Thank you very much for coming on, my man, and for making this show work. I'm really, really excited. I appreciate it. Matt, please. What is up, sir?
What is up? Long time no see. Just kidding. So, I'm Matt. As always, you can find me on @MattMora19. That's going to be on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, maybe some other place I'm not remembering. And you can also always find me in my website, which has a lot of cool stuff. That's going to be Kabbalah.com, KAABALAH.com. There are also the Twitter spaces we do, the Grey Lodge, and you can always find the archives at the True Grey Lodge with the V, so truve.com also. And they're all archived in YouTube. So those are pretty nice. We just launched the first one from this year was super nice. It's there. It actually was there already, or it's going to be premiered later. I don't know, but it's going to be posted today. Mm-hmm. And pretty happy to be here. Let's have a great talk.
Yes, thank you very much for coming, sir. I appreciate it, especially since we just did a show a half hour ago. Appreciate you, bud. And Ethan, please, sir, let everybody know what's up with you.
Well, honored to be here, Nick. Thank you for putting these great shows together. Dana, just talking with you, I know this is going to be awesome. Joey, I always know you're going to drop some bombs and some science. So Ethan Indigo Smith on all the usual suspects on social media and easy to find. And I appreciate anyone communicating. Headless and Ricardo and I have been doing the Sunday trialogues and otherwise writing frequently and putting out articles. And again, just honored to be here with the rest of you guys. Thank you, Nick, and everyone.
Oh, thank you for coming, man. That's what makes a part of the show. And finally, the guest herself, we got Dana Kipple. She's the author of A New Force, and she will be talking about plasma, and that is something I am very, very interested in. And I do think this, I do think this stuff does tie into the occult. I do think there is science in the occult, and this stuff I think applies. So I'm very interested to see where this show goes. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, like it always is. And Dana, please let everybody know where they can find all your stuff or whatever you would like to promote.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Okay. So yes, my book, which is right here. I'm too lazy to get it down. A New Force, Plasma Consciousness and the New Human Potential. It is on my website. I have a few exclusive signed copies. That is danakipple.com. You can also get it on Amazon Prime. You can get a color version or black and white version. And then my Instagram, Dana.thealien, or my TikTok @DanaKipple, or my YouTube @Plasma Intelligence. There's a link in my bio that goes to my awesome magic classes where I teach the science of higher consciousness. I kind of fuse new physics and new sciences with human magic and philosophy and a bit of mental health. and how we can basically apply this to live more deeper, magical, awesome lives with the mystery itself. So that's really just my book and magic classes. And I'm speaking at a few upcoming events. If you're in Los Angeles, I'll be at the LA Conscious Life Expo, February 21st and 2nd. And then I'm speaking at the Science of Consciousness Conference in April in Tucson, Arizona. And anything else I forgot. So that's all I'll go with. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for coming on.
Yes.
So I guess, since we are limited in time and I just want to get right to the chase, I normally do that with most people, especially authors. What was it, I guess, that was like plasma? When was there like a moment where that idea popped into your head? You had a little voice said something about plasma and you just ran with that? Like
literally.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, literally. So I started meditating like maybe 5 years ago now. I had never meditated ever, but I was always like in touch with like the paranormal, and like I was obsessed with magic as a kid and all those things. And so I was meditating. It's like day 3 of transcendental meditation. And I still cannot explain this to this day. It's hard to put in words. All of a sudden, I just knew. I came out of the meditation just with this gnosis that plasma was intelligent. It was the vehicle for consciousness. I was going to write a book called A New Force. And it was all this like huge ocean of wisdom was in my mind. It doesn't mean I knew how to apply it right away. It doesn't mean I could put it in human words, but it's just like I had this knowing in my heart. And, at first I did not follow it. I was like, no, I'm going to be a famous actress. Like, this is so silly. Like, I don't know what this is, but this isn't cool and no one's going to like me. And what the hell is this? And then, it kept knocking at my door that it wouldn't go away. And finally, 5 years later, I wrote my book about it and I'm obsessed with it now. And I kind of, committed to one of my destinies, I guess. But yeah, I didn't know what plasma was. I have had no education. Like, yes, I did have, I had a propensity. I was very good at quantitative reasoning and math and science as a kid. I was gifted in those subjects. But then I worked in the mental health industry, and I never could have thought in a million years I would be doing this right now, is the point I'm trying to make.
You can tell that like the book found her. And like this is 700 something pages, dude. And I dove into it, and what I found so pleasant about it, not to plug your book too much on my end because I'm repeating what I said on our show. Yeah. But this isn't a list of facts. This is practical application of the soul. Like, this isn't a how-to. She lists the facts, but as you get deeper in the book, it's like a practical how-to apply this kind of occult science to your everyday life. And she's proof of it, dude. That's good.
Thanks. Thank you so much. It is 666 pages. I don't know how that happened. I didn't do that.
That is badass.
I swear.
I asked her on my show, I was like, why is your book 666 pages? She was like, what?
I thought it was 684. So I don't know what happened there. But I will say, to me, that is the number of balance, 369. And it's like has to do with the heart chakra. It can also be flipped into other things as well. But yeah, it's a vibe. It's the color green. And I have a lot in my book about, the spectral green color in plasma and what that has to do with things. Yeah. I'm not in the Illuminati.
Maybe that's how it passed the test of not getting banished, because like there's a lot of these guys who write about this stuff. William Reich, I mean, yes, they destroyed him, and his book's only 120 pages. So
I can tell you why.
Tell me what. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear that.
So I actually was terrified of being. I'm not even joking. I was terrified of being killed, and I got threats while writing this book. I'm not even joking. Like, a lot of people tried to scare me, and I was so paranoid. I thought someone was going to break into my mom's house and like murder me. But I started realizing that fear is an egregore or a pendulum, and the more you have the fear, the more that thing shows up in your life, and it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the moment I claim my power back, and I was like, no, I'm not scared. I'm on my highest timeline where I'm not going to get killed and my book's going to do great. And I'm at the perfect time for this to come out. And that was number one, that belief and waking up in that timeline. And all of a sudden that fear left me. Number two, I'm currently not trying to make a machine, and I'm not in competition with, the oil and gas companies or any kind of technology company. So I would guess more safer. But also I am teaching you how to use this without any of those things and you can't capitalize off it. So in a way it is dangerous, but I think people underestimated me. The book is out and we're just at the perfect time for this information to come out. So I feel like I'm safe. Thank God.
Yeah, if I can say something about this. So I totally agree with you. I think that's the perfect time for something like this to come out, especially like this coming year will be probably the last where we still get some stuff from the past, like Aeon, the past ages and so on. And again, the more this kind of stuff becomes out in the open, the less they can control it. And it's whatever. Now, if you have a lot of people doing something, then you cannot really pinpoint like one person and then end them. Right. So I totally agree with you. And the mindset thing, obviously, again, if you give it power, like the fear, then it comes stronger, right? It's how people get cursed or whatever. That the power of the curse is more in the person believing the curse than in the actual curse. So it's crazy.
Yeah. That basically that black magic is there, right? And if we want to feed that wolf, we can, and we can live life that way. And we can also live life with our own internal magic and walking through life with power. And that's what I'm choosing to do most days. Some days I forget.
Dana, you mentioned that some of the plasma energy frequently presents itself with the green color.
Yeah.
Could you break down a little of that, and maybe some of the other colors are how they?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest colors that show up when I think of plasma is actually one, opalescence, which is kind of more rainbow. That's like it at its most neutral, highest frequency. And then right below that, I would say it's like the violet flame, like a violet color or purple color. And then when it has to do with humans, it's a lot of the time, and creation, a lot of the time it's green, which has to do with balance, with heart energy. When you're creating from your heart, it's the most powerful. And then sometimes pink, because it has a lot of links to the divine feminine. So there's like rose imagery and pink and pinks and reds. And then teal, weirdly enough, with Mary Magdalene, there's like some blue and teal vibes. But I wrote, that's more like mythological stuff. But as far as the science goes, and I wrote this in my book, I'm trying to find it really quick. So there's, if anyone has my book and wants to look this up in the future, it is on page 55. It's called Green Waves and Cosmic Balance. And it talks about like spectral lines and this phenomenon called the green flash. When the sun sets, there's this rare thing that can happen where it flashes green, and it's where the sun's meeting the horizon. And I actually think it's very magical. It's the same thing as the zinc spark, this green fluorescence when a sperm fertilizes an egg. And I believe it's basically when plasma and consciousness come together and create something. So anytime anything interacts, which is, plasma and consciousness. And I can go more into that because right now that makes no sense for most people. It's, green is the color wave of consciousness creating the universe, basically.
The center of the color wheel too. It's directly centered on any color wheel. Okay. And it's funny enough, like these are the colors that will flash in front of you before you go into the DMT world.
Oh, really?
It happens quick, but it's like a really colorful, like rainbow pastel, almost bubbly like this, which I thought you did on purpose.
No, I've never done any hallucinogens or DMT or anything.
Yeah, that's crazy to me after reading this. Yeah. But like the color green, with it being like the heart chakra and all that, like the ancient Egyptians talked about the middle realm, the earth realm is green, and in a as above so below way. That's why we're green in the center, purple on top, and then red at the bottom, because we live, between the Netero and the Dulux.
See, you have great counterbalances to everything I say. I love it.
All right. I'll bring the esoteric myth along with it.
Yeah. Should I define the plasma I'm speaking of for people who are listening?
Yes, I was actually going to ask if you wanted to go into first, if you don't mind, I hate to kind of go backwards, but like when it came to this book, what was it that you were like set out to do with this book, kind of in a way, like with plasma?
Literally nothing. So like that's the weirdest thing, is I had zero intentions because of how the book came to me. It was like this thing I thought I knew I needed to do, but I didn't know why I was doing it, which is so hard to conceptualize. But I guess if I could, like, it's almost like my higher self was like behind the wheel of my body, but I was like co-creating with it and I'm fighting against it at points. But I guess as I was writing the book, my only thought was, I don't know if this is ego or my higher self, and maybe it's a mix of both, but I was like, I hope this sells. I hope millions of people read this one day. I hope this helps change the world. I guess my biggest intent, I have two intentions. I never just have one. It's to remind people of their inner power and to remind people that they're never alone. I would say those are like my two biggest intentions. Yeah.
Nice.
Solid. It actually helped me a little bit with my own insecurities about putting out videos that I felt were unhinged. Because it's like you feel that fear that becomes an egregore, and you can just directly counterbalance it with, just everyday mindfulness and meditative, a mindset or whatever. And it almost feels like you're protected, and not to sound too wild, but that's what it feels like sometimes when you feel insecure about putting out some information that you're sure of in your heart, but how is it going to be received? And you put it out there. If you put it out there with those insecurities intact, that's how you're going to project yourself, and people will respond to it in that way, in the same way that dogs can smell fear. It's in your body language, but whenever you bring like authentic, like how you describe just the knowing with whatever you're presenting, it creates almost like a protective bubble around you. Maybe that's like literally a plasma bubble, because we have that.
It's the shining.
The shining. Yeah.
I would call it.
That makes sense. It's a cool
Look
word
into
too.
that. There's a lot there behind that, but I'll leave that for people to figure out.
All right.
Shining. All right. So now if you want, what kind of plasma are we talking about here?
Oh, yes. Oh, and also I think the book and what Joey's kind of speaking to, it reminds people, because like I'm an ex-drug addict, I'm not like, and the thing is, most like people who do change the world are fucked up, but they forget along the way to remind people of that, and they pretend they're enlightened, and it's like no one isn't, not even Deepak Chopra, I'm so sorry, but not even like no one is fully enlightened. We are human. We cannot remove the humanity from humanity. And it's very important to remember that even now I make so many mistakes. No matter how much I know, no matter how much wisdom someone has, we do not embody it every second of the day. And when someone's pure and authentic, it has nothing to do with how perfect or good they are. It has to do with how authentic they're being and how pure their intentions are. It doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. And like anyone and any human can change their life or do the things that I'm speaking of, is my point. Like you don't need to be fully healed or go to school or like, practice for a million years. Like you can do it now if you give yourself permission and recognize your wholeness, no matter how much shit you've done in the past that's really fucked up. So I just wanted to share that really quick because it's very important to me. Plasma. What is it? So in science, plasma is an ionized gas. It's the fourth state of matter. There's solid, liquid, gas, then plasma. It is known as lightning, the aurora borealis. There's also cold plasma when you look at neon signs. I posit in my theory that plasma is actually multidimensional. So there is plasma beyond what we can observe in science. And you can call it a living ether. It is multidimensional. It is sentient. And it is the vehicle for consciousness, information, and intelligence. Information is what I'll go into it just a little bit. Information is imprinted consciousness. It is more fourth dimensional. Think of it more as memory or as limiting beliefs. It is things that our consciousness has imprinted on plasma for years and years and years, creating the Akashic field. It can be changed. It might come to you as a cryptoid or an alien, or we can go into that another time, but it does not have free will itself. And then there is intelligence, which does have free will. It is more like fifth dimensional consciousness, your higher self visiting you. And plasma is the vehicle for all these things. Plasma is also around us as our biofield, right? And it has to do with electromagnetism too. It's, what's it called? Photons or dark photons are coming out of this plasma. So it's electromagnetic. And then there's this plasma bubble around us. It's like our Merkaba, and we travel in that. So when we die in the third dimension, it lifts us off to the fourth and fifth dimensions. It's the vehicle for consciousness. It shepherds us into other worlds. Plasma is like the intelligent clay that we mold with our consciousness. It's the glue of all timelines, dimensions, and realities. It also has links to the divine feminine and Mary Magdalene. When you look at a plasma universe, it's not a spiral galaxy. It actually turns into a rose or a ballerina skirt. So anyway, I'll stop there, but that's what plasma is. It's a multidimensional glue of everything.
I didn't know that about the galaxies that were not spirals. That's fascinating. I'm going to have to look into that.
Like a spiral rose, like it becomes more like a rose. And then if you look in every magical, system ever, rose is symbolism for a reason. And yeah.
Right. If I can add a little bit something to that, the plasma being multidimensional is by no means something that is just an occult concept, because people think that they think solid, liquid, gas, plasma. This leads them to think that plasma is just a really thin version of all of those things. Like there's atoms that are dense, solid, atoms less dense, liquid, yada yada. But it's totally not the case. The makeup of how plasma is constructed isn't even atoms at all. So if you have like a gas, and that's like really loose atoms, what plasma is those atoms are annihilated. They're actually not even atoms. They're just loose electrons and protons that are not bound to each other. So they can travel through any solid substance the same way that photons can, through entire planets or whatever. They don't live by any rules that we recognize in physics. So it gives it that multidimensional aspect, like literally built in.
Yeah, and I mean I would say it's the finest state of matter, right? That we like out of those four. So like obviously one would posit that there's stuff beyond that, right? So yeah, and also with occult, really quick, in some circles, the saying "the star is the man." We are human stars. David Bowie used to say, what did he say? I'm a star, just add water and twist or something. I don't remember what he said, but the stars are plasma. We are plasma. So there's a lot there. Yeah.
Do you think that has anything? Go ahead, man.
Go on, sorry.
No,
I was going to say, it's all just so fascinating. I don't know if you can see the screen sharing I'm trying to show.
No.
Just to illustrate. Yeah, just to illustrate something. When you were talking about the colors, right? I don't know if you saw, if you ever saw this version of the Tree of Life. And like you were saying, I think iridescent or whatever, like all the colors kind of combined. Exactly. And opalescent, exactly. And it just, like how the Tree of Life would explain it is exactly that. You have the kind of unformed energy. It comes down, it becomes this kind of light thing, which is the first thing we can see. And it goes traveling through all the different colors, right? And then as we're talking about like the green or the blue and whatever. And it's just, again, the idea of some vehicle, which you also mentioned, the Merkaba, which kind of moves, and then in occult we would say the elements. So all the four elements would be contained, and then the fifth one is the one that kind of moves them around. Like they can only exist exactly within this one. So it makes total sense. And then each place would call it differently. You can call it like ki or prana or whatever the heck you want to call it. But it's
animal
like
magnetism, orgone energy.
Exactly. The spiritism guys would call it like ectoplasm. So they would
vital
need
fluid.
Exactly. Like we were saying, that when they were doing like challenges and whatever, the guys that they were channeling, the egregores, the other dimensional beings, they need the plasma from the medium to go and do stuff. Like we were saying, like they need some kind of fluid to go and do everything. And also, just to finish the last point, I think in English it's called like will-o'-the-wisp or something like that.
Will-o'-wisp plasma as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
Exactly, which is what we're talking about. Like when you die, it's just like this kind of thing flows out of you, and then it continues. Like the information is there. Like it's like when you get a cell phone. This is the hardware, this is the body. I can throw this around, but if I have all my data somewhere, I just plug in the data somewhere else, and then you have like the same phone in a different body. So it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
Do you this type of plasma? I mean, like, would it also be attributed to the plasma that's in our blood?
So yes, and so in science, obviously they're completely different things, but they were actually named after each other for a reason. They have the same characteristics, so they both have to do with communication, with information exchange, with protection. and that's the first chapter of my book you can get into, is like they literally have the same function. So plasma actually is more of a behavior than a state of matter. So our reality you can think of as a huge fishbowl or painting of plasma in all different gradients. And there's, solid and, even in, material science, there's plasmatic effects and solids. That's why there's shape-shifting metals, right? There's not a big difference between metals and plasma. But back to what you were asking me, in blood plasma, kind of like how the star is the man, I believe that there's something we don't know about blood plasma yet, where that, when, if a car crashes, time slows down, or like, let's say a car falls on someone's leg and you have superhuman strength all of a sudden and pick it up. I believe that somehow our plasma gives us those kind of magical powers of, superposition, where the body almost communicates faster than light. I don't know how. I'm not, if I did, I'd be a billionaire. But I think that our blood plasma has very magical properties. I think there's a reason when you donate plasma, 90% of it goes to get studied, and only like 10% is donated to people who need plasma. And I tried to post a video about that, and it got taken down 3 times. But I'm saying it now. And it doesn't mean, I'm not giving medical advice for people not to donate plasma. It's just like, maybe ask where your plasma is going. I'm not, like, it can save lives, right? So I'm not saying don't do it. But just, alchemical gold, plasma's gold, guys. And, plasma facials make you young for a reason. I should start doing them. But yeah, anyway, they're different in science, but just for everyone to know who's listening, in Greek, plasma means to mold, or the molded. Obviously, that's what we do with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, even I guess the sperm also is made out of similar thing, right? Like there's
So
I think it's a lot of blood, and then it mixes with something else or something.
Well, yeah, and blood is plasma, and what's interesting is you made me think of membranes. Everything has a plasma membrane, from a plant to an animal. Our cell has a plasma membrane. Guess what else does? The earth, it's called the ionosphere and magnetosphere. Humans, it's called the biofield. And what is that membrane? It's where our consciousness actually lives. It's where the information exchange between inner and outer happens. It's that liminal. Our consciousness is really a liminal space. And that's why I don't even like the word consciousness, because it's like hard to define. That's why I say it's more plasma consciousness synergy. It's just a constant feedback of us creating meaning out of neutral events that are happening. And it's more about our conscious perspective that matters, more than like we're asking the wrong questions. Like, who cares what consciousness is? It's like, how can we have a relationship with reality and learn more about that? Like, that's what actually matters. Like, we're being, just like in magic, they're showing us this and asking these questions when we should be looking over here. Because that's keeping us disempowered. What is consciousness? Who the fuck cares? How's that going to change anything? It's like, what about having a relationship with reality and learn magic?
I think we have a bad habit as people, especially in science, to give something a name and then call it a day.
Yeah.
We do it with DNA, especially with plasma, but even electricity. And a lot of people don't realize, when I tell that lightning is a mystery, we don't know how lightning works. And for that to be a mystery, but we go to school and they explain a lightning like it's something that's been solved. And that's an issue, especially with plasma, because how Matt was talking about, the information on a cell phone can move from one phone to another. And what Dana's saying about us having a biofield, I forgot. Yeah, and the earth also having the same thing. It makes out-of-body experiences scientifically sound, because with science, even materialist science coming out now saying that they don't think that consciousness is localized to the brain.
Yeah.
So if it's got a vehicle of some sort, which it must, well, then it can travel from this fleshy membrane to a plasmatic field and back and forth, because they have shown that the makeup of plasma is as complex as neurons in a brain, but without the fleshy, tangible matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look into the Korolewski clouds and dusty complex plasma, it's self-organizing plasma. Same with plasmoids. There's magnetic recombination, and there's things that in the plasmas that look like filaments and DNA. And it's like there's a paper by Robert Temple called the Korolewski clouds cosmic superbrains. And it's about how they are intelligent, not like, free will like humans per se, but they have their own complexity and intelligence. And something with lightning too. And this, I'll just put this a little bit in mental health. Lightning to come down to earth needs grounding. When we're doing magic and when we're working with plasma, the first thing we need to do is always ground. If not, it's kind of like Icarus going to the light. His wings melt. We will go crazy. So when you're working with plasma and magic and just in everyday life and everything, wake up and ground. Like connect with your heart, connect with the earth. Like the grounding is so important for all this work.
So can you tell us about the Kordylewski clouds? Because I think that might be a new concept here in the occult reject world.
Oh,
fascinating.
Okay, I might butcher this. So if I do, you're going to have to take over and Robert Temple's going to be so mad at me. But there are two large plasma clouds that were hypothesized to be real in like the 50s by this Kordylewski guy. And then they discovered them a few years ago in like 2018. And they were discovered these plasma clouds between Lagrange points 4 and 5 between the Earth and the Moon. And the weird thing is that they weren't thinking about them being intelligent. And then Robert Temple, who was writing a book on plasma, was like, hey, have you ever studied, the plasma and intelligence in these clouds? And they were like, no. And then they did. And, they found out that these, cosmic superbrain clouds had just as much complexity and intelligence like as a computer basically, and as they had like DNA filaments. Can you, Joey, help me out here? Right? That's what they had in them?
Well, they can store information the same way that a computer can.
Yeah.
The same way a quantum computer can. And that's, by the way, that's no woo-woo. We use plasma to store information.
Yeah, a plasma crystal.
So to imagine that there's two of them on either side of the moon that are the size of the Earth or bigger is such a magnitude of information that, as Robert Temple said in his paper, you can store the entire record of biology from since Earth's beginning and all the evolution of life on Earth. You can store it on one of those, literally on the cloud. And there's a reason we call it the cloud, But those things are there and they're invisible. But I mean, the most effective things in our universe are invisible. Dark matter, dark energy, all these things.
Those have to do with plasma too, which I can
get. Right. But what Nick, you'll love this, dude. So with all that said about the Kordylewski clouds, there's the Gnostic Gospels. They describe Metatron. And Metatron is one of two, what they called formless, gigantic mega entities. And they described it on either side of the moon, locked into rotation with the moon, that follow us and watch us as we evolve. That's how the Gnostic Gospels describe Metatron.
I didn't know that.
Dude. So they I don't know what kind of downloads these guys were getting, the Eleusinian mysteries or whatever, but they knew about those clouds before we had the technology to study them. And I think they understood them a lot better than we do.
And I think they're all over the, I was going to say United States, all over the universe. And also Inanna, how like there's cults of Isis and Inanna. Inanna's a Sumerian goddess. Inanna backwards, her name means cloud of God, cloud of obscurity, or cloud of Yahweh.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and her symbolism is obviously the owl, the rose, the lion. And her whole story is the descent.
Right.
But there's a lot there. And really quick, dark matter and dark energy. In my theory, in my book, I explain that dark matter is really just an effect we're seeing of what I call dark plasma or 4-dimensional plasma, which is the Akashic realm that holds our thoughts and our memories and our emotions. And science, just like their minds would explode if they were to admit that or even try to study that. I don't think they know how. And then dark energy is more of that, what I was calling 5th dimensional God energy or higher self energy. I believe that that's the energy expanding the universe from us literally creating with plasma and consciousness. So those are theories I have.
There was an article, a scientific article from like Scientific American, and I saw it only about 2 weeks ago, and it was new. And it was like new insight on dark matter indicates its plasmatic nature. And immediately I was like, well, now you guys are catching up to Dana. So
yeah, right? What the fuck? Give me credit.
Congratulations to you guys and your PhDs for keeping up with this content creator. And
I was gonna say they also just released something about like dark photons. I was like, I fucking talked about this in my book and called them anti-photons and how they're like other dimensional. I was like, what the fuck? I literally talk about what I think light really is in my book and rethinking light, and then they come out with that. I was like, whatever, I said it first.
Yeah, it's got a magnetic field and it affects things magnetically, and no one thought it had the mass to do that.
Yeah, and that has to do with the feminine, the dark feminine.
Right.
Magnetic, just focusing on the electro part and not the magnetism part. There's suppression of the feminine. And in magic, we all know all the, secret societies worship the feminine and the goddess.
Yeah, the Bina. And it's funny, like exactly, the science will always take, I don't know, 20, 100 something years to catch up, or even more sometimes. Like they'll say, we just discovered it. It's like, sure, you guys just discovered it. Like, this shit is old as hell. But one thing you guys mentioned, two things actually that made me think. First, the idea of the information not being localized. So when you think about universe, it's also fractalized. It's like holographic. So even when you have that, when you have that, then you can have each point, like if you understand reality as having like pixels, each pixel has the whole information to create the whole thing again. Because it's fractalized, and it goes on and on and on. And the thing about electricity, which again, I completely agree. A lot of people don't even really understand what it is. There's a video from, I think it's Veritasum or something, like one of these science guys in YouTube. And he proposes an experiment, which is like having two cores basically that would go around the Earth, but they would be like super close to each other, and they would have like a light bulb. You would start it, and then in theory, the energy would have to go through the thing, like round the Earth, and then make the light bulb go up. And then they ask, okay, but how much time would that take? The reality is it's basically instant, because what the like core does, it's not passing the energy, because the energy is like a field. It's not like a linear thing. So just by being like close enough, the field passes to the other. Basically, it's something like that. You can watch the video afterward, this one. But again, the thing is, electricity then becomes this plasma thing, because it's a field of like electricity and magnetism together. It's not like a whole I don't know, like people imagine like a zap thing. It's like, it's not that. So super nice.
I know, it's completely linked. And what you just said, the pixels of reality, I draw this in my book too. I call them plasma spherules. And I literally just say that like reality is made of little plasma spherules, like as pixels. And it actually has to do with like neutrinos and flavors of neutrinos, but I won't get into that today.
Oh, no, I gotta leave something for the book.
Right.
One of the reasons why this plasma even like really interests me, this may take a little bit to explain, but a while ago when I first started like having I guess magical experiences, I guess whatever you want to call it, but there was a point where I kind of did it back to back quite often within like a week or so, and I thought there was something wrong with me, like physically, even my eyesight. I just didn't feel right. My one eyeball was pinned and the other one was open. So I was just like, something's wrong. And I went to the hospital, and they had told me that, one, they tried to chalk it up to migraines, and then telling me that I had I forgot the actual name of the thing, but some issue with your blood where your hemoglobin is spiked up. And they were saying that the possible reasons for that is actually having low plasma water. So they were like, you should come in probably like in a couple of months and get it tested again, and then come back a month after that and see how it is. And if it's all right, it was a weird thing, or just, they said sometimes this just happens to people and you have to go and get blood like once a month. Because when I was in the hospital, they had to give me a bag of blood and a bag of saline. That's how like dry I guess I was. So after all that, I'm sitting in the hospital. I was there for a few days, and just even when I went home, I mean, my mind's going about like the whole situation. What did I just experience? I'm starting to think like physiology is even tied into like magic and stuff. And I'm thinking like, I do believe that like, in the way I explained it too, we're powered by electricity in a sense. Like the sunlight comes into our eyes, and by the time it hits the optic nerve, it turns to electricity, and that's going through our body. And if plasma is electricity inside there, if my opinion, I do think you have to kind of untether yourself to have a magical experience. I was wondering, is all like those side effects, especially with my blood issue, do me maybe manipulating or using my plasma, or it maybe going somewhere and coming back and you just issue or something? I don't know, but I just thought with the whole idea of just even knowing that our body runs on like electricity, basically, with our nerves and everything.
Yeah.
and then plasma, and then it's in plasma as well, and it's in your blood. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if that's all part of you, like, I don't know. Like, that's why where it ties into a magical experience or something, because of electricity.
Right.
I was gonna say, oh, do you want to go first?
No, I was just going to say I think that's entirely us, is the electrical nature, because if you remove the electricity, you just have a dead, wet sack, you know?
I have a note on the difference between electricity and plasma, and I want to find it because it actually, I had to do some research on this because I was like, okay, they're seeming very similar. And I was like, I don't even know. And I need to find it. I'll find that when you guys are talking, but really quick, what I want to say about what you said, two different things. Low plasma, if you look it up, is the first, not with you, but this is also a weird thing with memory, is one of the first signifiers of Alzheimer's. So with loss of memory comes lower plasma levels, which is really interesting. But there's a lot, like your plasma is your magic. So when you have like lower plasma levels, like your body starts acting funky. Also, I do not think this is crazy. I think this is really happening to a lot of people. We are evolving right now and our senses are evolving. And with that almost comes like growing pains. Like this past year, I've had weird floaters in my eye. I've had my whole body, starting from my head down to my feet, go through shocks and pains and being stiff. And I was not actually sick. I was breaking out in rashes. I literally think we're almost going through, like, our bodies are going through a dark night of the soul where they're like, it feels like we're getting worse, but then it actually all is like coming out of us. So we can be like butterflies. So I think a lot of people right now are going through very scary health issues and like vertigo and eye issues. And like my throat for like 2 weeks was like hoarse, but I wasn't sick. Like, it was just like, you know what I mean? Like, there's weird shit happening is my point, but no one panic. Like, I'm not saying don't go to a doctor. Like, I went too, cause I was scared, but like, know that for a lot of us, we really are evolving, and weird shit's happening to a lot of people, but it's not bad. I think we're going to be just fine. Yeah.
I even
exactly.
think
And it's always like
go ahead.
Sorry.
The butterfly reference is perfect because that's grueling. It's agonizing for the caterpillar. And what's nuts about that is that the butterfly retains the memory of the caterpillar after it becomes, I mean, they still don't quite understand it, but it becomes a sack of liquid that has nothing to do with a caterpillar or a butterfly. And that memory is retained. And those kind of worms that you see that can be cut, and one scientist cut one of them, those sea worms, into 26 pieces, and every single piece became a new worm, and every single worm had the same memory. I don't know how they tested that they had the same memory, but it made them realize, like, okay, where is the memory stored? Because it's not the brain. And salamanders do this too, you know. So that also explains why whenever we leave our body, in any kind of outer body experience or anything like that, we still retain memory. And this gives hope to that the entire concept of life after death, that we can still retain our character on our way out, and possibly that might be the alchemical point of life and death in the first place. I know you've heard about
I would I'd say that's a perfect example of the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, because you get two-dimensional being, because the caterpillar can only go, through the earth. It can only go like back and forth and so on to the sides. And now you have like a third dimensional, because the butterfly can literally fly. So it reaches different points. So again, if we are humans living in a, let's say, third dimensional body, and we want to go to a fourth or fifth or whatever, we gotta deconstruct some of the things. And some occultists or occultism books will talk about how before our bodies were actually made out of silica. So like more crystal-like instead of meat-like, bone-like. And again, you kind of imagine you being a crystal. It's what we have here. It's how this shit works. It's a bunch of crystals passing through the energy and so on. So imagine if our bodies is that, then imagine how much more information that can, transmute and so on. And it's always the sun kind of giving the plasma from it to us, right? So if you see all the like Schumann resonance and all the shit, like the plasma rays, the sun sends to us and so on, you can see from where these like downloads are coming from, right? like you're saying, I'm not sick, but I'm getting shit. Fucking booming against ourselves. So super nice.
Every alchemical document that I've ever seen, all these alchemical manuscripts, they're very mysterious in their symbolism, but they all have certain commonalities, including there's always a sun and a moon involved, and people always think that's purely symbolic. But there's a lot more to it than, because the sun is, of course, plasmatic, and everything we eat is the sun. Everything that powers our sun. Right. So it's like we are quite literally the sun embodied into a format. So there's a connection there. And mercurial figures throughout history are represented by Mercury, which is meant to represent something that heats something so much that it annihilates it, it obliterates it. You become the negrato, or the primal substance, and you have to descend like Anana into that state of complete annihilation before you can be rebirthed from lead into gold.
And that's also Hermes, which is the interdimensional traveler between heaven and earth. So and he has to do with Mercury and plasma, in my opinion, the shoes with the wings he wears. Right. So I think there's a lot there. And yeah, with the butterfly thing, it's not a coincidence that in every religion, angels, Zoroastrianism, Quetzalcoatl, they all have wings. That's our higher selves. It's us with wings. It's our expanded selves. And we're literally becoming heaven on earth. We're becoming these winged beings. But guess what wings are? Our wings are our toroidal field that looks like wings. And it's us using our energy and our plasma energy, our key energy. That is what our wings are. And we're learning how to use that.
If you take the magnetic field of a human being, which is a torus shape, and you take a 2D cross section of that, that's a great point. That's what that looks like. And if you take that cross section where the energy is around the head, around the torus, that's a halo.
Halo.
Yeah, that might be where people started drawing that, because if they're seeing these beings, or even experiencing it, seeing other people, because science just discovered the bioluminescence that is apparently new to science. And they're all on the science channels talking about, this isn't to be confused with the aura, but instead it's actual biophotons. And it's like,
shut up.
Same story, different name.
Yeah. Really quick, I found my notes. I can't find the real good notes I had, but the difference I wrote down. So there is light, that's electromagnetic radiation, and then there is an informational emission of plasma. So basically, the difference I wrote between plasma and electricity is that the electricity is more an informational imprint of plasma. So it's kind of like, what's a way to say this? Like plasma is almost carrying the electromagnetic, if that makes sense. That doesn't really make sense. I feel like I'm not making sense.
I kind of get what you mean. Sure.
Like, we work synonymously together.
One thing that's striking, then maybe this might help us decode it or figure it out further anyway, in simple terms. It strikes me that you said it's an interdimensional energy, and fractal too, but this interdimensional energy is really a distinguishing factor of it. And maybe it is the connection between the magic aspect of energy and there seems to be this relationship with all these paranormal events where there is this plasma activity too. I wonder if you might have seen anything about that. It seems that interdimensional nature seems to be like that really strikes me anyway. And I have an electrician friend, and he admits they don't know what electricity is. They only know how to manipulate it and control it and do things with it. So it's a very grounded energy, whereas it seems like the plasma is in its essence being interdimensional and fractal, something beyond grounded, if you will. That's a great explanation. And I think it's just like a mother and a father. Like you can't have a child without an egg and a sperm. Like there's, and we've forgotten the mother part, which is the plasma. Like we're so focused on electric, which is good, but we all also have to remember, the womb of creation, this plasma energy, and how they work together to create reality. It's not just one or the other. It's not either.
And what's more important than that is the divine child, which is what they create, which is, whether it's matter or us as human beings, divine and the, children of God, whatever you want to call it. It's these two energies that create the third thing, and that we create a third thing with these two energies. And with the paranormal stuff. So yeah, it's once again goes back to the vehicle of consciousness. It's like the way that everything visits us, from, cryptids to shadow people to angels. They all have, just like us, a plasma layer around them. And plasma responds to your subconscious, your belief systems, your cultural memory bank. So things are going to come to you based on your own resonance. So if I'm in a state of fear or trauma, I'm going to see a demon. That same energy will come to me as an angel if I'm in a state of love. And better yet, if I'm in a state of neutrality, I'll actually see past its subconscious reflection of this plasma reflecting layer. And I'll see to the truth of what that is, whether it is information or intelligence, like another being of consciousness, which to me have looked like holographic lights, like more fifth dimensional. And they have like ideas and downloads for me. Or there's what I call like informational, like more fourth dimensional informational being, which is not conscious, but it may be a traumatic memory that's visiting me in the form of a demon, like every movie ever made. So it can be quite mythological, but it's very good to decipher those two. But it's more of the meaning you create out of it. But yes, plasma surrounds all that. Plasmoids, plasma surrounding the aliens that are coming to us. Plasma just seems to be like this womb of creation. We're meant to co-create with it to create meaning, if that made any sense.
It's like a tool that we're completely ignoring, and and that is kind of concerning.
Ooh,
I didn't really realize that about, so like paranormal phenomenon, that's very interesting when it comes to plasma, because if you get too close to a high radiation of plasma, it causes hallucinations. And just like placebo and all these other, we give it a word, and then we call it understood, but we don't know what hallucinations are. So if you read these stories about people, seeing ghosts or whatever, or alien abduction, in the case of Travis Walton described seeing a plasma ball. That's what he called it. He went up to touch it, and then he was abducted by aliens. So people call him crazy for years. I mean, even though he almost died, came back 5 days later, emaciated, but what I think he saw was his subconscious, the archetype that he would use to describe something completely formless was filled in by his own amygdala in order to make sense of it.
Yes. And I've had those experiences, and it can be quite offensive to someone who's an experiencer, but I'm an experiencer. And it's like, I'm not discounting any experiences. I'm just saying it completely interfaces with your own psyche. Like, what better way for a higher intelligence to come to us and help us work out our trauma, right? Even though it feels traumatizing within itself, like there's so much we're ignoring within ourselves. And sometimes these like high experiences of high strangeness happen to evolve us. It's just like, real life is a perfect training ground for this. Think about everyone you meet, guys. Most of the people grow and evolve you, and we meet the same partner over and over that reflects your subconscious, reflects your mom and dad issues. Like, this is just the same in this earth world than it is in the spirit world. And once, you beat that final boss, you'll level up, and you'll have different things come to you. And you might have, when we work on our trauma, all of a sudden we start to attract better partners. This is the same in the spirit world. So, I just teach a lot about how we can have beautiful co-creative experiences with these same energies that seem to be demonic, that are actually not at all. But they are. Like, it is not fake. It's real. It is more fourth dimensional informational energy with this like archetypal costume on, but it also isn't real. It's real and it's not real. And really quick, with electricity, I figured it out. I found my note. Electricity is real, but the light only exists when a circuit is completed. So it's kind of like electricity is like music. It's like a co-creative relationship. So I think I'm saying that electricity happens when a relationship happens. I don't really know where to take that, but it's a very philosophical, interesting thing, and has to do with plasma somehow.
Yeah. I mean, in Kabbalah, you could say that is the light going through the paths. So again, it's never stopped somewhere. You cannot have, like, you don't stop at the spheres, you go through them and so on. And you kind of you have the base that you go from. And again, it's not something you catch, I cannot catch lightning. I can just see it happen, like you said, like with music and something. And it's so fun. Like, just picking back to something when you guys were talking about the sun and the moon. Again, a
Mhm.
lot of esoteric guys would say that our selves, the one that is, let's say, playing this character, it's gonna be stationed in the moon and the sun. That's like some kind of cord. They can call it like silver cord, golden cord,
Mm-hmm.
and that let's say the player is gonna be there. So again, you're connected through this kind of plasmatic thing, which if you go in astral travel, you're gonna see it, and you can think of it as an Ethernet cable. Literally, you're connected like a plug.
Ethernet.
Exactly, Ethernet.
I love that name too.
And then like again, oh, we just discovered it. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing was, again, when you start to think about how when you were thinking about like angels and demons and whatever. Again, you don't need to go out of your body, because most people think going out of the body means you lose control of this one and suddenly you are in a different place. No, if you like close your eyes right now and start imagining yourself in a place, you are already outside out of your body, right? You can keep the consciousness in this one as well. It's just partialized now, compartmentalized.
Yeah.
And the thing is, exactly what you see is going to be a projection of your own understanding of the thing. So if I see something scary and I think it's going to harm me, it's going to be, I will call it demon, right? But then is it really like, or is that just my projection onto the thing? And then again, where that being came from. If I'm projecting that reality, again, I'm in Portuguese, we would say plasmar. So like plasming. I don't know if that's a word in English, like the action of plasming something. If you are the one plasming it, then who is creating that? Like, again, you're afraid of something that you are creating. Just go and like stop that creation. Like, don't create that. And then you're not going to have, you're not going to be fearful of that. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. And the more you have control of that, the better and the more beautiful the experiences are going to be. So a lot of people are going to talk a lot about like entheogens and psychedelics and whatever. And, you know, one of them is ayahuasca, which so many people that go through these, they're only in those places. They're going to say, oh, yeah, man. Like they go and they have the experience, but it's always something like kind of quasi-traumatico and it's hard and it's whatever. But that's just because they don't know what buttons to push, literally. If you know it, it's going to be the most, I'm not saying go do it. Actually, don't do it. If you're listening right now, don't do it. But I'm saying, if you know what you're doing, it's the most beautiful thing ever. Because again, you know, you have more access to that place which you can have access right now, sober. It's just that your character, like its volume, it's loud. So when you take something like that, like the volume of the character goes down, and then it's like, okay, I can create other stuff now. I can play around these other dimensions or whatever. And it's again just so nice and beautiful. It's cool that you're doing that with the book. I'm definitely gonna have a look.
Oh, thank you. Well, I wanted to build on what you said too. So like, yes, like I don't know where you said this, but really quick, these.
Forgive me, ignorant question. But am I coming through okay?
Yeah, now you are. I think you're.
Hello.
You're good now, Ethan.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes there's a lag on him, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ethan.
I don't know what happened now.
Shit.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Then.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that. So there's actually in this book I was reading, there are these beings. They call themselves elemental beings, like fifth dimensional beings, and they say we draw freely upon the powers of cosmic creativity. As we enter the etheric world, we may take on various forms which are provided by the imaginations of human beings. And I read this after my book. Like I read this like the other day and I was like, oh my God, I fucking said that. But this was made way before I wrote it. So anyway, we're all plugged in the same thing. But basically, it's like this fourth dimensional space I speak of. This 4D plasma is like this layer of memory and emotion and thought, this astral realm, this etheric realm, like below the 5D. This is the paint that all these beings dip and come to us in. Like they have to come through this layer before appearing to us. And it's like their costume layers. So yeah, and when we're, whether we see angels or demons, these things are all real because we made them all real. They're in our stories. They're in our, they're energies that resonate with something inside of us. So if you're having a bad experience or you want to call on something like whatever, that's going to resonate with something inside of you. So if you don't want a certain experience, don't look at what's out there. Look at what's within you, not within you that you have to kill. Cause I know there's a quote about that, but look at what there's within you to integrate, and that'll kind of dissolve that resonance. Then you won't have those same experiences. And the more you cultivate a heaven within, you'll have a heaven without.
Wow. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the main theme is that when you encounter these Mara, which is their word for archons or demons, it's as literally as simple as recognizing them as a reflection of us. And the moment that we can realize that they are projected from us, they either evaporate or they transform according to your level of knowing that that is the case.
Oh, that's cool. I have to make a TikTok about that.
But that's what makes it so, like what Matt is saying is like, you got to know to press the right buttons. And it's very, very true. But that can be very intimidating because we feel like we have to have this huge, extensive library of esoteric information in order to like have a hand in anything. But just having that as the first step, realizing that they're projected from our psyche
puts the power back within you.
Yeah, it's 90% of it.
You don't need anyone to save you anymore. That's what I think is so amazing. It's all of a sudden, like back in the Sumerian days when they made, the first kind of governmental establishments, they made these gods outside of them, these idols to worship and these, places of religion that you would go because they wanted you to go somewhere to worship something outside yourself. And that's how they controlled people. And, if we can teach humanity and remind humanity that, the power is within you. Yes, there are these things outside of you. There are things we can't control that happen in life. But it's, once again, the meaning you create, the powers that within you, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think it gives people their power back. And then capitalism, consumerism won't really work anymore.
That's the beauty of it, is that we are all sovereign beings of our own stature, and we can own that. And we've been hypnotized to think that we are on the tail end of some kind of hierarchy. And
or we're in a simulation where something's running us. And I'm sorry, I don't think that's the case. Like,
right.
We're not in a simulation. We're in a living, breathing flower of life that is emergent, where there's determinism and free will. And we get to choose where, yes, things outside of us we can't control. That's deterministic. Things happen in life that you can't control that are a mystery. And then you control the meaning you make out of it. And you make choices. That is our free will. Our free will is our choice. I know Ethan had a question and you're back on.
Well, yeah, excuse me for stumbling through my poor internet connection. I was wondering about, in relation to light, that light has the quality of particles and waves. I wonder, does plasma have a similar duality, if you will, or is it, as I'm kind of gathering, it can be a cloud, it can be a particle, it can be a line, a power connection, a stream, or a globe. Maybe could you break that down between like the light particle and wave?
I would love to. And then Joey, I would love your opinion on this too. So I would actually call it more of like a fractal and more holographic. So I think it could be a rainbow serpent. It could be anything, right? So yes, the particle right now is a wave. Light is a particle and a wave, but there's very recent study about dark photons where they actually think light is not even a wave anymore. It's just either a dark photon or a light photon. And I actually think they're wrong too. I don't think particles even exist. I think they're just points of interference. I think it's more like field theory and even beyond fields. It's like a quintessence, right? The fifth essence. It's almost like this. It's like, I see it as a neutral kind of, you could call it a particle, but a neutral holographic spheral that can just kind of change and shapeshift based on our consciousness and is always working on our consciousness, right? So I see plasma as just like this fractal shape-shifting liquid, almost like flubber. And it's kind of neutral. As I said, events outside of us are all neutral. And what creates meaning with it is consciousness. So consciousness colors it. That could be on a collective, which is why, our world isn't going to change in 2 seconds because we're all believing it together as a collective kind of dream, but a reality dream. And the more people that believe something, the more the world will change. And then individually, maybe you can make smaller changes, but still create a ripple that can change the world, right? Because you could influence the beliefs, which is why I think being a philosopher is so important. You can make a change to something small, like in magic, or use a group of people to make larger changes. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
I agree 100%. And in almost a scientific way, I think Ethan's question is important because when we describe plasma as being the finest state of matter, again comes that concept of it must be very light and fluffy, but it's not the case. It's just a completely different type of existence. So plasma can be very dense. It can be more dense than solid matter, because I mean our sun is plasmatic. So the sun is as dense as you can, like a spoonful of the sun is going to be as heavy as a building is on Earth. So it takes on so many forms that it's quite literally the costume for which God seems to come through, you know?
God's hand. Yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful. It reminds me of the undefined in mathematics, the fourth operation. If you divide 0 by 0, you get an undefined. And in that respect, the fourth energy of plasma, right? It can be whatever.
Yeah, and even more, and that is actually, I need to do a video on that too. You guys are giving me too many ideas. Something even interesting about above the number 4 in complexity theory is like you need 5 levels of something for like complexity to arise. Does anyone know what I'm talking about right now? Otherwise, I'm going to Google it. But basically,
yeah, no, that's true. And to that point, we can count immediately 4 things, but we need to actually perform the physical counting of more than 4.
So that's where my plasma comes in. It's like the 5th essence or quintessence, or it's like this finer plasma, this ether beyond the 4 states of matter that exists in that way. And that's how I believe that. That's why I think we have life on Earth. I think that there needed to be that 5th complexity, that it's not just, or fire, earth, air, wind, or whatever the fuck the 4 elements are. There's also the ether, which creates the complexity of a human, which is the Leonardo da Vinci 5-pointed.
Yeah. That's crazy, because if that's the case, and it certainly seems to be, that would explain the fall of Sophia in Gnosticism, that there had to be that 5th level of complexity in order for pure consciousness to experience itself or anything at all. There had to be something outside of it. And in order to experience something outside of pure consciousness, it would have to forget first that it did that it created that extension of itself to be able to exist, or to experience itself existing at all in the first place. And in that light, it almost seems as if the fall of Sophia, and almost adjacent to what the Gnostics say, that physical matter, that the material world is not necessarily evil or anything of a bad connotation, but simply of pure consciousness forgetting that it is in order to just to be.
I'm getting a download. Yes. So that actually, in there's a legend of Tiamat where consciousness or man cut up a dragon into a bunch of pieces and split it between heaven and earth because they were scared of it. So the fact that the material world and desire was dark and evil only happened with religion, because I think that they were scared of the feminine and the power and the magic. The first legend of that is Tiamat, and then it goes into everything from like Kali, the goddess, to this evil siren, to desire and Buddhism being bad. And it's like, none of these things are actually bad. We're supposed to love our human experience. We don't need to be enlightened. We'll be enlightened when we die. Like, who cares? It's about, and something with the fall that I think is very interesting. And same with magic. If you say words backwards, the fall is just laugh, right? It's like the cosmic joke. It's like, like,
the cosmic giggle
about it. Yeah. You just have to laugh. And when just realizing that, like, nothing that we thought is evil. Like, evil's human created. It's, neutral. And
the way Ram Dass used to describe when people would come up to him and be like, Earth is a school and blah, blah, blah. He'd be like, yeah, that's great. You should try taking the curriculum then. Because people are so quick to have this kind of Luciferian mindset to where they're like, this earth realm is a ghetto and I live in the higher realms. And Ram is like, well, get your feet back on the ground because we need you in here,
Me?
No, I said like that Ram Dass would tell people who are living up here in the spiritual realms, he'd be like, well, get back down here. We need your feet on the ground. We need boots on the ground. Like if Earth is a school, then try taking the curriculum. Yeah. And the way he described it. Right. Yeah. And if you think about it like that, evil doesn't necessarily mean this like this half and half dualistic, this is good, this is bad. It's a man-made concept, but at the same time, if everything came from this primordial source that wants to split off from itself, have amnesia, and then experience self, then evil is just how far removed you are from that source. And then like Matt's that funnel that he showed, which I forgot the name of it, but it would be like, right, okay, so the further down that consciousness descends through those spheres down into it would probably be, I mean, the bottom of that tree of that Sephiroth is probably associated with evil, but not necessarily defined as evil.
All the spheres have their shadow, so have their like husk where the light can be contained, and that becomes the let's say destructive thing. But once again, you need both, right? Like you need something that creates, something that destroys, something that maintains. That's the basic. Otherwise, if you just have something that creates, you cannot, like, there's going to be too much. There's going to be too many things. You cannot like destroy something and create something new. You're going to have just the same of everything and too much of it. So you need, again, the three. And if we go into like what exactly a lot of people call evil, is just going to be things that are against them. Like a lot of demons are just the gods of the guys that I'm against. So I mean, they're demons for me, but for them, they're the gods, and so on. So or like the church would be against some rich guys that didn't want to pay their tributes and whatever. Yeah, now they're demons. Like, okay.
Or someone you used to date who you think is a demon, but they're actually really not. But you see them as a demon because to you they are a demon.
Exactly.
But you secretly know, like, maybe they're probably not. But
the most relatable shit ever. Like,
But my point is, with evil's fear. Evil's human created. It is fear, and what helps that, bringing curiosity to it. Doesn't mean we need to steep in evil or worship evil. I would never say that, but it's like, bring curiosity to the things that scare you. It doesn't mean you have to wallow in them. It just means get curious about what it triggers in you. And
and that kind of makes death a beautiful thing. If you think about that, life cannot exist without it. I mean, that's of course, but at the same time, if nothing died, there'd be no room for things to grow, evolve, change, and emerge, because it'd be a real crowded universe if there was no entropy involved.
Yeah.
So that cycle of things makes things special. It makes things worth experiencing, because if you have the same cheeseburger every day, it doesn't matter how good it is. It gets old.
And we don't need, and the thing is, we'll die to this personality experience, but we'll bring our individuality. I think our individuality goes on forever, even if it's not like in this Dana ego. Like I think it's still contrasted even at this fifth dimensional level. I don't think we usurp, or what's the word, like go all back into the all. I think there's a slight bit of us still in there, and we're experiencing different levels. So I don't think we actually do, ever die in that way. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and even if you think about in terms of how you would define that, we die every day. Every day you go to sleep, you die, and another you wakes up every second. If you didn't die, you would be a baby until now. Like you would be a 30 years old baby. You have to die as a baby, and so on, and become a kid, and become a teenager, and become an adult, and otherwise you're gonna be the same shit over and over. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say I interrupted you. I apologize. It's like the sun setting, but really if it sets, it's still always there. We just don't see it.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the beauty of a sunset comes from it going away.
Yeah. But it's always with you, which is important, because everyone you lose, it's that sun, it's the moon. It's always there. And sometimes it'll show up in the day randomly and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Right. That's a fucking really nice way to look at sunsets and death in general. That it just makes it that much more beautiful. It makes it that much more special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to die. Like, I love my life. Like, I think your fear of death is actually your love of life, which is really cool. Because sometimes I think I'm all depressed, and then I'm like, wait, but like, if I'm so scared to die, it means I really must love life. So let me connect with that more.
Yeah. Well, and not to bring up the Tibetan Book of the Dead again, but it rings true here that and if we want to leave the wheel of samsara, or what the Gnostics would call the earth realm, what Egyptians called the green, we can, but we have to be without attachments to it. And that's the hardest part is whenever supposedly the Buddhists call them hungry ghosts. If you die and your electromagnetic plasmatic self, your real self is still attached to someone or something in this realm, it's not gonna shoot up through the firmament, so to speak, like it should. You're not going to transcend that orbit of Saturn, the archon rule. If you have attachments here, we have to learn to be able to let those things go. And that's that kind of the concept of enjoying a flower without picking it out of the ground,
I'll add to that a little bit. I think that, like, I've heard from a lot of near-death experiences too, and it really relates. I think that, and this relates to magic, what you leave here with attachments, because I actually don't think attachments are bad. I think they're okay, but I think it's true. When you leave here, you bring everything with you. So the work you do on yourself here, you do bring with you. And what you believe in, you bring with you. And then you bring that into the other realm. So if you believe that everything sucks and you're very negative here, you also, that will reflect in the plasma of the fourth dimension, maybe in different ways. But that's why it's so important to work on ourselves here, because what we believe, we'll see Jesus when we die. If we believe in Buddhism, we'll see Buddha when we die. This has happened to people. I believe in whatever I believe, it'll reflect off the plasma hologram when I die, and we'll live in that belief system. And then we might learn to transcend it in some other dimensions, right? But I think in that way, we bring our attachments with us. So it's, the more clear you can get here, the more you'll be able to consciously die in that way. And maybe, like, if I believe I create reality, then I'm going to have a great time when I die.
Right.
If I believe I'm, bound to certain things, I'm going to suffer a little bit more.
That brings a great clarity.
Think about it like this. Oh, sorry.
Ancient Egyptian tombs, like the actual tombs. Of course, we know that the pyramids weren't them, but they do have access to Egyptian tombs. These pharaohs were buried with all of their favorite cats, their favorite pets, their favorite.
Yes.
Yeah, they went into the afterlife with them, which is, of course, to science, it's debatable. But you know what? Those guys built the Serapeum, so they were onto something.
What's funny is that here in this body, we are kind of nerfed. So it's like you imagine something, you put the emotion, you put the feeling and whatever, the thoughts, but it doesn't come straight away. Like if I imagine like a gold bar here, it's not gonna just, for most people, some yogis can do that, but that's another story. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of nerfed here. But when you're out of this, in your imagination, you can create things like this. I can create a 1,000 quadrillion like gold bars. So imagine. Yeah. Exactly. Imagine when you get out of this, how it's going to be. Yeah. If you're not controlled, your Merkava, you're going to it's going to ride all places, every place. And like you said, it's going to connect to whatever you feel like you're going to go. Like there are some people who are still in their tombs waiting for whatever they're waiting, like for Jesus to return or whatever. And they're there. And maybe parts of them are trying to wake them up like, bro, come on, there's more stuff to do. Get the fuck away from there. And they're like, no, they don't even listen. Like they're just, unconscious. You can actually see that if you go out of the body and go to some tombs and whatever, you can see that happening, which is again, people with the consciousness so like ingrained in that idea that it doesn't change even when they supposedly die, or people still living the same life they were living before they died because they think that they didn't even realize that they died. So they're just going about their day, thinking about it and so on. And they don't realize, that they're going through walls and shit.
That's about the scariest thing I can think of.
Yeah,
I think we'll be fine. I think we're all good. Also, with what you just said, that's going back to saying how we are evolving in the plasma. This is the whole reason I think the book was kind of like given to me from the ethers, I guess, or I co-created it. We are just like we can in these other levels, learning how to materialize right away, and some Tibetan Buddhists can and stuff. That is what I think humanity is being called to do. And these plasmoids are trying to show us, these UFOs. I think the sole reason they're coming to us is like, look what we can do with plasma using our consciousness. You can do it too. You don't need a machine. You don't need something outside of you. And I think we're evolving to learn how to materialize things quicker in our lives. And I think it's happening to some people already. And this is why we must learn how to evolve and expand our consciousness. Because if we have these negative points of view, they will materialize a lot quicker too. And that is just, you have to take accountability for your own mind, because things are speeding up, and we, you know, with our power, you know, it can be our own heaven or our hell. And we have to really take accountability for the fact that we're co-creating that with our higher self. And if we are in a negative mind state, we're going to create our own hell. And it doesn't mean we can't have negative emotions. It's very important to have negative emotions and feel sad and grief. And we need to have the rainbow of emotions, but having a higher perspective when you're having those emotions and feeling them fully, that doesn't dictate your life. You can feel the myriad of emotions and still know I'm still abundant. I'm still going to create an amazing life, and I'm having a human experience in this moment and feeling emotions. But those things are very important.
Yeah. And an important point to add to that is sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, when we feel those really uncomfortable feelings, we like to cover it up, whether it be, you know, alcohol, drugs, right, stimulation, right, scrolling on our phone. And
plasma.
Yeah, those that will resurface later when you're at your job interview. You know, so when you feel it, go ahead and feel it right here and right now, so that it doesn't kick you in your butt later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very well said. Very well said, sir. Sounds like someone's music's playing.
Oh, I'll be right back. Hold
on. Yeah. I thought it was like a singing bowl in the background again.
I hear that too. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. I've always got those little sacred frequencies.
Oh yeah, that's what
more. It was like it's 528. So good news. It's good for everyone, I think. But okay. I forgot about it.
Everybody's ass is gonna be bleeding later. All right. I think we probably got to start wrapping it up, right? For you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun. I mean, I wanted to get lunch by 1 p.m. and it's 12:30 my time, so I'm okay for 20 minutes, but whatever you guys want.
Okay, yeah. Is there any Matt or I think Ethan is frozen again? Matt,
I got a little thingy if I can poke in real quick.
Please, yeah.
So we were talking about things don't manifest immediately here in the earth realm, but you know, it does upstairs. And I like to compare this to the dream state. You know, whenever you're dreaming, everything in your dream world is made of the same substance, just pure dream substance, whatever that is. You know, I mean, we don't know, but that reminds me of like the Brahma and the Hindu idea that we all live within the dream of the Brahma. So, you know, when he opens his eyes, the world ceases to exist because we are characters in his dream. We are like literally the plasmatic nature of the electricity within the so-called brain of the Brahma. But there's scholars and alchemists and these occultists from all over history that didn't necessarily weren't in tune with Hindu ideas that talk about these same things. So I got this light clip by Andrew Collins, who is an absolute prick in real life, but he does good work. And
he told us that story, I think.
Is he? That's so. I met him once, but it was a very short interaction.
I don't like him.
He's very he can be childish too, but he has a very serious nature. Okay, go ahead.
Maybe I shouldn't go into it again, but I sent some
the Light Quest story. The book's good.
Yeah. Well, long story short, I sent some fan mail and he told me that he was not impressed with I have 7 of his books, and I was like, I got damn near all your books. And he's like loads missing, no caps, no punctuation. And I was about to invite him on the show, and then I was like, nah, because I sent him fan mail first. That's how I do it, or whatever.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah. And then a week later, he's like, hey, man. And he clicked on me and realized something. I didn't respond back. But
I had a similar situation, by the way, with Bruce Lipton. And this is like, he's the nicest man ever. But he's really like, I try to tell him my theory, and he was like, wrong. This is how it is. And I try in my mind to be compassionate because I'm so strong in my theories, and I'm sure I've told people they're wrong, but now I see how a bunch of a negative experience it is. And like, who am I to tell anyone they're wrong? So it was a great humbling learning experience for me of like, no, everyone's right because everyone's truth is their truth. And if anyone asks me their opinion, I'm just not going to fucking answer them because that's their magic and I'm not going to put it out. But anyway, maybe.
Well, truth is subjective, and we all need to come to terms with. You just made a short recently talking about science is talking about how physics isn't localized. It's
Yeah.
not local. So truth and like the literal fabric, the nature of reality itself might be updating
Oh, it is.
constantly. And I mean, I'm kind of butchering your short a little bit, but that's
No, it is.
if that's what's going on, that makes truth purely subjective.
Yeah,
And, well,
you're doing that. Didn't butcher anything. That was very
all right, yeah. And the Bruce Lipton sounds like he's got the Dunning Kruger or something like that, because I'll tell you this, and I'll stand by this. I've never met anyone dumber than a person who knows what the fuck is going on. Like someone who will tell you that they know the facts and they know how everything is are usually so skewered that, you know, and closed-minded. But all right, so like this guy Fazio Cardano, 1444. He's like this hermeticist mathematician. He's like a Renaissance man. Talked about he had a vision of these beings, these light beings who came to him, just like Zarathustra had his communion with the Elohim.
Yeah.
It's like the same damn story. But he talks about, this is a quote, the tallest of them denied that God had made the world from eternity. On the contrary, the other added that God created it from moment to moment, like a dream. I added like a dream. And so that he should desist for an instant, the world would perish. This is the story of the Brahma from a damn hermeticist from 1444, you know? All these things are connected.
Yes, most definitely. And think about it this way. Just like a video, whatever if people are watching now in YouTube, right? The video is just a sequence of images. Every frame, that could be a second, there's a new image. It's me doing this, then this, then this,
Right.
and we are speaking and so on. And
Except
that's
for
how
Ethan.
Except for Ethan. Ethan is there in the same place. But then the reality we experience is exactly the same. Moment by moment, you are projecting the next frame. The thing is, we become automatons. We do the same thing over and over, the same days, do the same things and so on. So it becomes kind of repetitive, and we don't even realize the amount of detail that is around us, and how you maybe don't even see something, because again, it's there, but you're not projecting it into your vision. And the moment you start changing that projection, not only first through the imagination, but then through the feelings, emotion, and thoughts, it's when your reality starts to change. That's literally the quantum jump you want to do, the reality surfing, whatever you want to call it. Like, you have to project something else. And even if we want to speak about like broadly, you know, for a lot of people, because for example, if you ask many people, they'll say, oh, the sky is blue. But if you make at least like 33%-ish people believe that the sky is actually purple, it's going to become purple. That's it. Like, reality plasmas the thing. And that's how it goes. If we think some animal is like extinct or whatever, it will become extinct. So
yes, and then some come out of extinction when we stop telling that story, which is literally happening.
Yeah. So again, you gotta curate your stories. If you stay the whole day just watching TV and listening to the radio and fucking on Twitter reading like war stories, guess what? Those are become real. Yeah. And nowadays you just need like an AI image to make people believe, and they're gonna put their thoughts and energy and emotion. They're gonna talk about it and so on, and their life is shit, and they don't realize, because they're not creating their own stories. They're just following someone else. And that's why I love tarot. You know, that's why I love tarot, because you just get all those symbols, and they're pretty like it's a system. It was built for that, and you get that system, the tarot, and you use it to create the stories, to realize, oh, that story is not cool. Let me like remove it again.
Layers healing.
And do something else. Exactly.
Hey.
Exactly. Like,
because we quit talking about it in the late 90s.
Exactly.
That's wild.
All what we focus on. That's why when people tell me like, aren't you so scared of the state of the world or what's going to happen? I'm like, no. I'm going to dream and be an optimistic futurist, because that's the only way we're going to have a good state of the world. So all of you shut the fuck up.
There's always a new end of the world.
Yeah, there's always bad things happening, and it's horrible. And it doesn't mean I'm discounting that. It just means that, like, why, if we're going to tell a story and perpetuate that, there's just as much good things going on. So can we not please put more focus into those things? And then also, like, yes, and then if there's bad things, then go do something about it, or shut up. Like, I'm not going to talk about something if I'm not going to go do something about it. You know, it's still, you could pray for people and hope they're okay and stuff. And, you know, the world is not fair, and that's annoying.
You know what I'm kind of realizing from that is that America has all the mass shootings. That's what we're known for. And that's what the news, right. That's what the news is insisting is happening. And then a perpetuation cycle happens.
Yes. And then more kids see it and do it too. It's like, if it wasn't talked about, they wouldn't even think, they wouldn't be in their idea, box to do it, that, and I just want to say really quick about this I want to go back to the people we were just talking about, like the Bruce Liptons and Andrew Collins and stuff, because it is interesting. This goes back to evil and thinking people are evil that probably aren't. I think when we have experiences with someone, we have to neutralize it and it doesn't mean we have to we can have discernment and decide we don't want them in our space, but it goes back to the plasma stuff and the reflecting stuff, and certain things might trigger us because people can have off days. And I was thinking for me too, like there's so many people I don't answer. They probably hate me and think I'm evil. And I literally don't have the time to answer. And I know I'm a good person. Or it's like, me telling someone in the beginning, like, oh, I do think you're wrong. Or I was critiquing them because they were asking for my critique. Like maybe at least what I know about Andrew is like, if you ask him for a critique, he'll fucking give you a critique. And it doesn't mean he doesn't like you. So it's just like, my thought is maybe to like, rainbow fan that out a little bit and see where like our attachments are to why it's triggering us, and then try to see the real person through that and understand them a little more. Just a thought. And absolutely. I'm like you though, when that happens to me, I'd be like, fuck that motherfucker. But then I'll think more about it.
Oh, and I can't ignore the man, dude. I mean, his whole philosophy on Cygnus.
Yeah.
And
I would try talking to him again is my point. From a different point of view, like maybe like at least from what I know, his personality is a little bit more like Asperger-y in that way, where he's just very blunt. So it's like, now that you know that about him, try to approach him in a different way with a bit of shielding for our own sensitivities. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait to start using the word Asperger-y. That guy over there.
I'm Asperger-y.
I think everyone on this panel
is Asperger-y.
Bit by a little.
I'm totally. I test on the autism spectrum, so yeah, that's why I feel like I could say
We're not beating the allegations, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the autism spectrum, by the way, they just came out with this. There's like women are actually very good socially who are autistic, but they have like, I've had, tantrums. I'm very black and white with things. If things don't go a certain way, I'm like, I have special interests. I talk with my hands, but then I'm also very good socially. And everyone's like, you don't have autism. I'm like, yeah, I think but it's autism is just being a multidimensional human who's like neurodivergent and like against the grain. And then, there's more serious forms of autism that start to affect functioning in life. And, it's a spectrum is my point.
Yeah.
And we're all wizards.
Right. And we're wizards, and everyone's got their own facts of genius, and everyone's got their own. I always say, I got this from Jim Gaffigan, and I say it all the time. He says, I bet you the 10 best pole vaulters in the world have no idea that they are, because we grow up in a world where they tell us what to do and where to sit and where to clock in, and we're not out here exploring what our talents naturally might be. Yes. So what happens as a result of that is this thing called autism, which is a real thing, gets extended out to people who are just eclectic or talented or quiet types. Like,
yeah. I think I'm just eclectic.
Well, I mean, but that's what makes it a spectrum too. Yeah. But the where it becomes an issue is whenever people insist that it has to be corrected, so that you can fit in this little.
Or you need medication. Yes, because instead it's not about medicating things. I think it's about once again understanding the gifts of these things. It's like the movie Mystery Men, where their weaknesses actually become their superpower.
Oh, that's interesting. Like the shadow archetype.
Yeah, the Mystery Men movie is about a bunch of like weirdos who have like, one guy has like a power of like farts. I don't even know. They're like, it's like Ben Stiller's and it's a really crazy movie. They're like anti-heroes, but their weaknesses become their strengths. And at least for me, that's true. Not the fart thing, but
I was gonna try it.
All my ex-boyfriends are gonna start redditing about that, but
dude, she farts plasma, dude. It's amazing.
Crazy.
Oh wow.
And you know what's funny? Like, again, if we come back to the storytelling kind of thing, if you get any story that you told yourself that that was shit, or you get the emotion out of it, if it was like frustration and whatever, there's always that's going to be the weakness, right? Oh, I got frustrated or whatever. But you have the strength, which is the opposite, maybe like being peaceful, in that being at peace in that situation. And then if you tell yourself that story that made you more peaceful, that becomes reality. Again, a lot of people have like childhood trauma because they tell themselves the story that was traumatic and that was a problem and that wasn't so much. But it's, again, just stories. You go to a psychotherapist or like a psychologist, whatever, they're going to help you process stories. You go to a lawyer, they're going to listen to your story and going to make a case out of it for a judge to approve your story and for them to use the little. You go to a policeman and whatever, they're going to listen to your story and help you. And so on. So it's all, again, the stories we tell ourselves. And you want to get to a job interview, you tell a story about yourself to get into the job. You want to have a relationship, you tell a story to that person to make sure they combine and you guys work on and so on. So again, you got to know what you're doing. And the plasma is the thing.
I wanted to link it to plasma,
right? It's the thing that moves that. Because while you're telling the story, exactly, it holds not only the whole story, but exactly the whole story. And when you put it into a symbol, when you put it into a symbol like some statue or of some god and whatever, that's what you're doing. You're literally like, that symbol now has this plasma where if you look at it, like you look at like Jesus and the cross and whatever, you look at some, I don't know, Greek god, whatever, and the plasma of that comes into your consciousness and makes you live that story. Like,
you live those memories. That's why idols, and that the idols hold memory. And what you're saying, the story is held in plasma. The plasma is imprinted, right? It's information, but there's a truth within that. If we're willing to see past the story, there are feelings there. And that's what you'll get in really good therapy, which changed my life, somatic therapy. She's like, I don't care about the story. What are you feeling? Where is it in your body? And as I process that, the trauma actually heals. And it's not like that thing never happened to me, but I'm able to change the meaning of it and reparent myself, not only feel it, but create a new story and move forward in my life, not letting that dictate the outcomes of how I see certain things. Like what's a good one? Like that my mom, when I was younger, like my mom was never like there for me emotionally. Like when I was sick, she thought I was like a demon. It was this really weird thing that she didn't want to take care of me when I was sick. And then, I got a story in my mind of I have to earn love, and every boyfriend I had to earn their love. And then once I actually was able to feel the trauma of my mom not being there for me and telling me that, that she also was going through her own stuff, that she was emotionally incapable. It didn't mean she didn't love me, and it didn't mean I have to earn love. Those things I created in my mind, and it doesn't mean it wasn't fair. Then I can start living life now being like, oh, I don't have to earn love. And, because someone treats me a certain way doesn't mean they don't have love within them or for me. And I can also give that love to myself now. And then, I don't know, you just start attracting different people, and the plasma of reality fucking change it. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Dr. Huberman and all kinds of neuroscientists talk about emotions, negative or otherwise. They last 90 seconds in our synapses. Like those electricities, that firing of that emotion is 90 seconds. And he's like, if you are perpetually all day locked in that emotion, he's like, that's you, baby. He's like, you're not obligated to feel that after you feel it for those 90 seconds. But then he's like, dude, get you some biohacks, get up and stretch, smile with your face manually. It's going to trigger those things to break up that pattern. It's up to you to, after those 90 seconds pass for that negative emotion, to replace it with something else, or you don't have to loop it.
It's all about feedback loops.
Yeah.
And even memory, right? Like if you think about, the more you remember something, every time you remember, you're imprinting your current emotional state onto that memory. And even the details, they change over time. Like especially as you get older, because you're like losing touch, it becomes like compressed. Like again, technology, you compress the thing to be able to hold it. And then you kind of lose track of it. So what even is real? Like, did you really live that way? Because it's all a perspective as well, you know? So like you're saying, from your perspective first was like, oh, my mom was doing this. But then you heard her story, and then it's like, okay, yeah, she was doing this to me, but she was also going through something else. And then there was someone else. And so and you start adding everyone's perspective to make the thing bigger. And then you can rewrite it as you want. Like, yeah, sure, I lived through that. And so on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation of plasma and consciousness, or plasma and electricity.
That's like literally the feedback loop. That's the vehicle of of that feedback loop that we have complete access to.
Yeah. I think if I would distill it, it really is as simple, at least for me, like for people who are interested in like the plasma magic of it all, right? If I could distill it into like a few things, it is ask questions to reality, rather than setting intentions, ask reality a question when something happens, like why, why is this happening? Or, oh, get curious, ask a question, a quest ion, right? Go on a quest with plasma.
Hey.
And then let it go. Number 2, let it go. Number 3, let the mystery, let God, let the plasma of reality, the amalgamation, bring it back to you in a way beyond your wildest dreams. And every event that happens, question it, get curious. Don't assign it right away as reality. And if you're in a constant co-creation with reality like that, that's magic. That's living that's letting things unfold. Like just, question everything. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole concept of the plasmatic creation outside of ourselves can be a matter of surrendering the results. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The more you grip it, the more you're going to lose it. By allowing things to happen authentically, and that comes with kind of doing your best to live guilt-free, which is impossible. But if you can honestly like tell yourself, okay, I did what I was supposed to do, and I think I did what I thought was the right thing, then you can
you could at the time with what you had.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever result happens from that, you can let go of it and kind of know that whatever happens is not meant to be in a way, but but that you can be comfortable. You can sit in that discomfort knowing that you did what you were supposed to do. And sometimes those negative things that happen as the results are like that burnt toast that keeps you from getting in an accident on the highway. It was there for a reason, and we set ourselves up for that.
For our greatest evolution. And I'll say something that will really make people know I'm human. Is that yesterday I yelled at my mom, who's 80 years old, on the phone because she really pissed me off. And the greatest way to know you're not enlightened is to be with your family. And I for half of the day, I created a story that I was going to have a horrible day because I had bad karma because I yelled at my 80-year-old mother. And who am I to write a book about plasma when I can't even have patience with my own mom? And then I created a different story. And I was like, you know what? Like, I had a human moment. We were both angry. We both trigger each other and we love each other. And I still deserve to have a good life and a good day. And I'm going to apologize to her and move on and not guilt myself. So there's, it's all about just reflection. We can still mess up and allow ourselves to have good things, which is going back to like feel guilt, be like, oops, but be like, I still deserve good things.
So that is beautiful. And it's an awesome philosophy on life. But hold up.
Yeah. Tell me.
Your mother had you when she was 50.
So I was adopted. So my mom, I was my birth mom had me when she was 17, and I also know her. But yes, my mom drives me crazy.
That would have drove me crazy if I didn't ask, so I apologize.
Oh yes, no, it's not a sore subject. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But yes, any more plasma questions? I have to get off in 4 minutes.
I'm good. I think we could wrap it up here. I think that was great, well already. Yeah, right there. Dana, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to promote again, or like let people know where they can find your stuff, please?
Well, I was going to say that the funniest thing is that you probably thought we were going to talk about other things, but somehow mental health and plasma are synonymous, right? Isn't it kind of weird? Mental health, magic, and plasma.
Mental health and magic, I think, is definitely.
Yeah, because what is magic but working with the human, and what are we but balls of mental health crises?
Balls of emotions. Yeah.
But yeah, sure. Just once again, you can, if anyone liked what I said here, the amalgamation of plasma and consciousness, my book, A New Force, Plasma, Consciousness, and a New Human Potential, is on my website, thesign1, also on Amazon. There's a color and black and white version. It's the same stuff inside. And then you can take my magic classes. My January magic class is January 21st. It is on the secret bridge of the fourth dimension. about that interstitial layer between us and our higher selves and how to be coherent within that to communicate. Because our higher selves is giving us what we want in every moment, but it's communicating with your subconscious. So if you don't know about that layer, that bridge, it's going to give you everything you don't want that your subconscious wants, because you still want your mommy when you were 5, but we haven't healed that yet. So I kind of go into the magic of that and how to communicate with our higher selves through that. And then there's also a magic class on plasma and consciousness in there. And that is all on my Instagram at Dana.thealien, in my Stan store, link in bio. That is it. And thank you guys so much also for having me as a guest and sharing me with your audience, and Joey for introducing me.
This was fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
very
one
much.
of the best conversations I love our conversation, and it was so enlightening, and I think it can help a lot of people if they listen to it.
No, I thought that was great. I like everywhere it went and what everybody added to it. Yeah, like I said, I knew it was going to be a good show, and I really, really do appreciate you coming on, Joey. Thank you for making it happen. I was really looking forward to this. Yeah, and since we're going to wrap this up now, I think you can find Matt, you can find Ethan. Sure, you've heard them plug themselves before. I think they did at the beginning anyway. So yeah, thank you very much.
Any books?
Oh, that's right. He never promotes them. Ethan.
Oh yeah, please, please buy
Joey
books.
and Ethan, promote your books.
Check out my Geometry of Energy, How to Meditate. It's I think got a great bunch of ideas and relationships in it. And that was so awesome, Dana. Thank you so much. And Joey, thank you as always.
Thanks.
Nick, thank you.
Of course.
Do you have a book?
I do. I have a book. It's called Book of Wonderful Suffering, and it exists. And I'm trying to write another one, but I'm slacking on it. But,
I am too.
Yeah. My page is a mere 400 pages though, so it's not quite as dense. But
harder to simplify.
Yeah. It's got a bunch of mythological shit connected with science in it, and a little bit about the art of alchemy, not led into gold, but material into spirit, so to speak. All that stuff. But honestly, for real, you get all that stuff on the channel as well.
You can get it both places. Some people like taking notes and reading.
Yeah, some people do like reading, sir. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's I'm guilty of it. So
especially now, because reading, like, you can skim, and reading's kind of a portal where when you're watching a video, it's like a visual experience, but you can't like skim as much. So it actually takes longer to watch. I like reading because reading just a co-creative portal. Yeah,
it's your own pace, and then you can put bookmarks in it. You can go back and
open to a random bibliomancy page and be like, "What does the universe want to tell me today?"
Well, one of my favorite things is to open a book just right in the middle of it somewhere, and like, what's going on this? Like that. Robert Temple talks about that. Yeah, and he ties that into plasma somehow, and it makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, here. This is insider information. He gave me this. No one's heard of this. The Trees of Sadness. It is his collection of short stories that have secret magical things in it. Like, if you guys want to go on like a magical mystery tour of like secret knowledge, get this book. I don't know where to get it, but it has like it's kind of like a Zen koan. Like, it has like puzzles in here. And like, I went on like a week epic trying to figure out one of his short stories because he left like mysterious puzzle stuff in it. I don't know. It was great. But my point is, books are going to blow up, and they're already starting to, obviously, on Book Talk, because more people want to be in nature again. They want to have interactive in-person experiences, and they're going on like these week times off social media. I think YouTube is exploding. Actually, I think that will stay, but I also think books are really going to explode because of the time people need off social media. So everyone write a book.
There you go.
Well, right. I am writing one, a translation of the Archaeometer that's going to get out in a few months, I hope.
Ooh.
But most importantly, the tarot stuff, your book of life and your book of the book of thought, which is the tarot. So if you want to hold your own book of life and create your own story, just DM me and I'll help you out with the tool of tarot.
Yeah.
Very
Thanks,
nice,
guys.
No, thank you again. I'm very excited that I was able to get you on. It's pretty. It was an awesome time, and thank you everybody in the chat. We had a lot of people in the chat. A lot of good stuff being said in there. It looked like people were digging it. That's why we go live, and that is the end of another Occult Rejects. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.